That was different.
It's in your hands because he's out here.
Good morning.
Morning, man.
Nice not to have to ask you about injuries Friday, but that changes today after the last couple of days. I was going to ask you on D.S. Bridge and Cam Smith.
Yeah.
Is it looking like days or weeks or months for those two players?
Whoa. D.S. Bridge had cramps. So the timetable for his return is now. Okay, then who's the what?
And Cam Smith, we saw him sidelined the last couple of days.
Yeah, this is the story that is we're all awaiting his ability to stay on the field. So every time that there's a setback, we're trying to assess, but we got to stay on the field to continue to develop. I like the stuff that he's doing in his development when he's on the field.
Could he be back soon, do you think, or is it something serious?
No, it sooner than later. I'm hoping the sooner the better. But yeah, it's days, not weeks.
Can we get an update on Austin Jackson and how did he suffer the injury? Is it something that was pre-existing, or I'm assuming isn't related or not related to the knee?
It was he got the injury playing football, got stepped on. Has nothing to do with anything but that, and with Austin, the bottom line for me where he's at, out of all the guys, I would say, he had a time off. He knocked some rust off. He got back and, in my opinion, exceeded where he was playing before. So we're fortunate that, that timetable doesn't seem to be into the regular season. So in those situations, the ideal for the individual, is it's okay with at this point in camp opportunities. Like all you're doing is finding more about the next guy up. I thought Larry had a great day yesterday, so I found out something about Larry. Now, maybe did he take the ones on by surprise? We get to see after prep the counterpunch by the edge players, and that's with the ones that's very monumental, really. So it was a good day of growth for Larry, and Austin is projected to be starting week 1. So good day for the Dolphins.
How is Jalen Phillips, and what we see him today?
Yeah, he's it was a bruise. He I think it might cost him one day, but just because of the swelling, a day to tops. But he'll be back. I don't think today though.
Tyreek said that replacing Achane with Jay Wright would kind of help solve some of the Dolphins' short yardage woes. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was, I thought it was genius reporting by Tyreek, seeing how we had a short yardage period that very day that you guys were in attendance for, and his suggestion was, I guess, congruent with Coach Stootsville. That's exactly how we repped the backs in that short yardage period that very day. But we thought it was funny that he reported the news that wasn't news on that practice day in that short yardage period that you guys were all there too for.
What player group or position group do you feel would have the most to gain heading into this first preseason? The player group or players that you feel will have the most to gain heading into this first preseason matchup?
Well, I think there's a lot of young players on our team trying to find their footing within the team, and part of the great thing about this 2025 team, in particular with the young guys, is they have the drive, the will, and the mindset to find a place on the team. First opportunity to introduce yourself, establish yourself, as a Dolphin, and then in the vein of what you have to do at an expert level continually is assess and reapply and get better at things you didn't do, and be dependable and all those things. So in that, there's a lot of young players, on both lines that I'm excited about. There is a plethora of, really we have them distributed throughout the whole team. I'm excited for first and second year players, pretty much across the board on this team, for week one of the preseason, because in particular there needs to be and will be guys that grow from game 1 to game 3, and this team is depending on that growth. So you get that starting point of that game like experience, and you find out so much more about people based on you have extensive practice relationship with them. And this is the first time it's the game, so my eyes are on the first and second year players across the board at every position, really.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think you learned about your team in the first week in pads?
There was some residual wins based upon the blessing of the environment. I feel like the humidity was a great extra challenge beyond the opposing side of the football for in all three phases, really. And you get to push guys as you progress and get more and more reps, and you want to see them respond. So basically, we went through the process of no pads and developed an energy about our football. You put pads on, it's physical, that takes a cost, and maybe you're not as vibrant or your energy isn't as good when you first get them on. And you want to see them respond to that energy lost with extra energy the next day. Well, we've gotten through that. Yesterday was our longest, hardest, and most energetic practice. That's what I want to see, is that growth of energy, how we play football, adjusting to pad level and physicality, and still bringing our strain to finish blocks not 2 yards down the field but 4, and for us collectively to not see, a great example is a long run. Okay, if the offense breaks a long run defensively, I want to see the strain from the collective that makes it like a 40-yard run could be a highlight on the defense's worst play. I want to see guys strain with pads and make people earn everything in both phases. So we have started that development. Now, so yesterday I thought the tone of practice was right.
What are the
We
things
finally captured it. What does that mean? Right? Like, the tone was right yesterday in a hard practice, and they have to match it today so you can create something that's that's real and a style of play that's unique to your own team.
What are the things you have seen come to fruition for Willie Gay this camp?
He's well, first of all, he's magnetic. He you can feel his presence inside the building, and he was a fast friend for a lot of the guys in the locker room. But what has jumped off is his energy isn't a one-off thing. He brings that every day. It's a pillar of who he is as a person as we get to really get to know him. So what does that mean? Anytime there's a tip or an overthrow, he's a potential takeaway guy. He is around the ball, and he is challenging both the people in his position group and the offense. So that I think he's a guy that has shown up every day, and I think that's who he is, and we're happy to have him on the team. I don't know. What does the weather say? Is there a storm?
Oh.
Oh no, or is it clear sky?
Is that a clue?
Well, maybe it can be clear skies. Excuse me. Maybe it can be clear skies and a storm at the same time.
It's very good. Are you guys?
That's why I said it.
Any of the offensive linemen who worked out yesterday, and number two, are you comfortable with your current group of backup offensive linemen, or is that a work in progress?
So we brought in some depth competition. I'm happy to appoint with realistically all of our depth. However, you can see on the horizon there's a couple guys that have the opportunity to step up. Generally, when you bring somebody in, you're challenging the group. They know that. But overall, there's I really would prefer to not speak on my feelings towards the whole offensive group. I like the way they're working in the shadows. There's some stuff that they're focused on the right stuff, and the group there's been tremendous development. I think you guys have seen some of it, but I'd rather speak with our play and not roses and dandelions.
And of the 5 who came in yesterday, are any signing at this point with you guys?
Yeah, you might have a signing here shortly as we've negotiated through all the information pretty soon probably.
As far as early returns go, I know it's 10 days into camp or so, but what has been the benefit for Coach Weave in his second year calling this defense for both him and for that side of the football?
Well, we talk about it almost every day, but he's really finding, in year 2, the trust of your assistants to carry messages so that you can carry more global messages. We've had some meetings the last couple afternoons that have been really, really good, establishing understanding for what we're doing while we compete and progress every day. So it's been, we did a phenomenal job last year, but the advantages of year 2 he's fully taken advantage of for sure, because he's and really it's just the collective group. The defensive coaching staff is doing a great job connecting the players, developing guys, investing in them daily, and challenging them.
Is there any update on Ifatu Milifanu?
Yeah, breaking news, you see him at practice today. All right, so that was a very on point question there. You've set a standard, now I will hold you to that standard.
In some of the Dolphins media that was released yesterday, we saw Tyreek kind of bigging up Storm Duck after Tyreek made a play on him. What sort of confidence does that instill in Storm when you have like one of the best receivers in the league telling him, "Don't worry about me beating you, like it happens"?
Well, Waddle and Reek recognize from an authentic perspective some real game in Storm, and I think it's easy to project if I'm Storm Duck that don't be a fool. That should give you some confidence. We were talking about it yesterday specifically with some nuances of his game. He's super consistent, really physical for an athletic corner, and doesn't shy away from any sort of reroute contact. Is actually forced that way, and is competitive each and every day. So it tells me a lot. You gather a lot of information, sometimes just listening, and they invest time into Storm because they believe in Storm and know he can help us win.
You have to learn first to follow before you lead. And I'm curious, during your time at Atlanta and San Francisco, What were some things that you learned during that preseason, those preseason years leading up to those Super Bowl appearances that you emphasized during this year?
No, that's a great question. It kind of sets your vision of how things are supposed to be in this time. Particularly, it's impossible for me not to reflect on, the most successful, the longest journey teams, and identify what happens in camp. And it's pretty consistent. The teams that go the furthest are able to really block out noise at all levels, both external and internal, and worry about their game, and collectively sacrifice and play for each other. And as simple as that sounds, and it's all good in theory, the noise is the opponent B every week. So like in the off season, you can't be focused on two things at once. The team hasn't, but then you go into training camp and it's a new obstacle because you're against the season. It's the nature of the NFL. But I think trying to capture that each and every day without relent, what we're doing here is there's absolute connectivity to those teams in my mind, as I see how you approach this time. This is where your foundation is built for your game and your technique and fundamentals, if approached right, can be a tool, an advantage, a competitive advantage against every opponent the rest of the season. So what if you could play every opponent at once by full commitment to your technique and fundamentals? That's what happens in those teams. That's what, each and every day we're not guaranteed to get. Guys have to motivate. Guys have to motivate themselves. It's all about the days dudes rising to the occasion on the days you don't feel like it. Those are the key. So each and every day and how we stack our work and build our game, first to be joint practice ready, then preseason ready, then regular season ready. You don't waste a moment, or you'll have an experience that will be regrettable. Man.